So the last couple of videos have been about, prepping your CoDrone summer camp. They've been about activities that you can do in your classroom. So this is a combination of the two of activities that you can do with your summer camp. And this is also a little tutorial on how to use Basecamp. So Basecamp it's basecamp.robolink.com. That is the site where we host all of our lessons. And you can see we've got everything. So CoDrone with Arduino, Blockly, Python, Snap. We've got Rocket Smart on here too. And we have community lessons if you want to check those out. We are going to focus on Blockly today. If you have beginners that aren't quite sure of themselves with text coding yet, this is probably the best place to start. So we are going to start with Blockly Junior, lesson 1A, that's flight events. And what I usually like to do is just give them 10 minutes to explore any block-based coding language. And I tell them what you need to do is look at all the blocks and make a code that you think will get your CoDrone to take off and land. And the stuff they come up with is great. They get really creative with it. So that easily takes 10 minutes. You get to see what they know and kind of be able to proceed from there. And then you can go into flight events. And flight events is just really take off, hover, land. It's very straightforward. But if they're beginners, they're going to need like a little bit of help. They're going to need a little bit of time. And that's fine. So every Basecamp lesson, it's going to have a summary right here. And then there's going to be teacher resources up at the top. And we'll go over that in a little bit after I kind of show you everything else. Right here has minimum requirements for Blockly. We'll skip that for now. And then the rest is just instruction. And it kind of takes them through step by step. It shows them what blocks look like, what order they should be in. That's very important. And then there will be a final code at the end. And a lot of students think they're done at that point. And that's nice, but that's not how we operate. So what we do is we have a challenge at the end of every lesson. So that is always going to be one of the activities that you can do to kind of see what they just learned, have them apply it. So this one, it's CoDrone push-ups. Try to make your CoDrone take off and land 5 times in a row with one code. So usually there's rules. One of the rules that we always have is don't forget an emergency stop. And then sometimes in the place of rules, there might be helpful hints, So I think the lesson that we're going to look at next actually has that. So that can easily take up 20-30 minutes of time, especially if they're engaged, and you can turn anything into a competition, and kids love that. You could give away prizes if you have them, even if it's just candy. I'm big on that. And then afterwards, we've got the related lessons at the bottom. So in the case where maybe it's the middle of the week, they can go back to a previous lesson, and if they forgot something, they can see what they need to, or they can skip ahead and see what is coming up next if you have kids like that. So let me go back up here to teacher resources. It will always be in a Google Drive folder. There will be a PDF that will be good if you don't have the greatest internet connection, or you want to have printouts, or you don't have like 3 students looking at one tiny computer screen. And what I just clicked on is the lesson plan, and that's always in a Google Doc. So there will be a summary at the top, guiding questions and learning objectives, all the materials that you will need. These lessons were made for schools in the United States. So if you are teaching summer camp, you don't want to look at those, or if you are outside the United States, don't think these pertain to you, then you can just skip them. Then we've got curriculum. So this will kind of lay out everything that you will need to do within the lesson. But what I think would be most helpful for you if you're teaching summer camp is to look at elaboration. So that's where you're going to see all the activities that you can do with your kids. So this one, have them modify their CoDrone push-up program. So most likely just changing the delay time. That's fine. But you could take it one step further. If they're interested in engineering, have them do the payload challenge. So they need to find a way to have their CoDrones lift a payload when they run the takeoff and landing code. So supply them with like thread and magnets and tape and Legos and anything else that they can use to kind of pick stuff up without damaging the drone. That's the big one because you want these drones for later on. And whoever has the most weight on their drone at the end wins. Oh, sorry, have them add more to the payload until they're no longer able to. That includes like actually taking off. Like you can't add more and have the CoDrone just be on the floor. So that's easily the first hour of camp for you. And then if you want to do more, you can go to lesson 1B, flight directions. And then this is having the drone go forward, left, right, backwards. So I'm not going to go over everything in this. I will go to the teacher resources, kind of show you all the activities that you can do with this. And this is only a handful. So after they learn about this, there's actually a kind of program a friend activity in this lesson that they always are super into. Then there's 4 different activities on top of the challenge that's already in the lesson. So we have missions for Snap, that's the other coding language that's being phased out. They can be adapted for CoDrone, so you can go to any of those missions and have your students complete those. Those are going to start in the letter 4. You can do the floor is lava. You have a mat with different colors on it, assign each group a color, and they have to land their CoDrone only on those colors, set up hoop obstacles around the room, set classroom desks or tables up in a maze. Like there's really a lot you can do with just those 2 lessons. Those will easily take 3 hours, if not more, of summer camp. And then you can always listen to your students and see what they're interested in. So like one time I was subbing and the kid was like, oh, I wonder if I can land my CoDrone on the coffee cup. I was like, well, guess what you're doing today? And he spent the entire class figuring out how to get his CoDrone onto the coffee cup, which sounds easy, but is super difficult. He was engaged and loved it. So that's really all you want your students to be doing. As long as they're having fun, as long as they're learning, you will be totally fine. I will say though, sometimes CoDrone does have problems just like any other robot, any technology. So I would recommend going to Arduino, checking out these 3 lessons. So documentation and resource, calibrating CoDrone, and the CoDrone intro videos. And those will be able to help you out. The reason I suggest Arduino is because right now that is the language that has the most resources. So if you have any questions, you can go to forum.robolink.com, post there. We will be able to help you out, as well as other members of our community. Enjoy.